Today's topic is stormwater management. Not exactly a subject to stir the blood and get the adrenaline pumping. It's a bit like getting enough fibre in your diet. You know it's important, but it's not something you think about all the time. Nevertheless, people do tend to get hot under the collar when their feet get wet, so let's take a look at why things go wrong when it rains. In the majority of cases, flooding problems can be traced back to the enemies of logic, namely architects, town planners and developers. Now, although these three branches of the Alliance of Chaos tend to work in isolation from one another, they all pull in a common direction. Now, developers have their eyes permanently fixed on the bottom line, so they don't want to part with any money that doesn't appear to have an immediate and tangible benefit. Trying to convince a developer that they need to put in a bigger pipe because it will be needed by future phases of their project is no task for ninnies. But then again, if you're uncomfortable dealing with grown-ups throwing temper tantrums, then engineering probably isn't the career for you. Most developers are convinced that we're just making it up as we go along so that we can extort more fees out of them. A decidedly unreasonable viewpoint, but at least their motives are understandable. Architects, on the other hand, are actively evil. Structural engineers tend to go grey or bald very early on in their careers, primarily as a result of their exposure to architects. Take Tim, for example. He's only 27. Now this is because architects subscribe to the notion that engineers are only there to make the design work, irrespective of how many laws of physics the design in question may violate. In the case of stormwater, architectural dogma states that because bathwater goes down the plug hole, a similar-sized orifice will be suitable for all other applications, and no amount of scientific evidence to the contrary will ever disabuse them of this notion. Town planners, however, are just plain thick, or at least they appear to be so. Many a stormwater issue would not even be an issue if your friendly neighbourhood town planner had bothered to look at a contour plan, at least before blindly plopping down their town layout and patting themselves on the back for a job well done. Of course, the alternative is too horrible to contemplate. What if they do look at the topography first, but just don't understand how gravity works? Even Clippy knows that.
Water always flows downhill.
Thank you, Clippy. It's worth repeating. Water always flows downhill. Now, generally speaking, problems occur whenever it is prevented from doing just that. So, let's explore what happens when water can no longer flow downhill. Well, it's quite simple. It becomes a puddle. The size of the puddle depends on a few factors, such as the amount of water and the extent of the obstruction. Humans have been exploiting this principle for millennia to build things engineers call dams, and I do apologize for having to resort to industry jargon here. Anyway, you can use a wide range of materials to build these dams, earth and concrete being the common ones, but a vibrecrete fence or an asphalt driveway or a front garden for that matter will also get the job done quite nicely. Allow me to illustrate by means of an example. Here we have your basic contour plan. Right, now to give you an idea of what the topography is doing, let's add a couple of drainage paths. There we are. Now, observe closely as those drainage paths are cut off by the good work of the town planner. Well, would you look at that? Let's add the houses, just in case you think I'm making this up. Do you see the problem? The part that's really difficult to understand is why the municipality is scratching its head and wondering why there are so many complaints about flooding in the area. So, what do? Well, the answer is obvious. Appoint some engineers and make it their problem. So now do you understand why I'm always in a bad mood?